Responder Safety Institute. We're part of the Cumberland Valley Volunteer Firemen's Association. Our group was founded 108 years ago, and unfortunately, about 11 years ago, one of our members was tragically killed on the highway. So we established our Emergency Responder Safety Institute to do something about the problem of public safety workers, particularly firefighters, being struck on the highway and injured. We don't have to tell anybody that there's more traffic, there's more aggressive driving, they're inattentive driving, there's all kinds of problems on the highway. That leads to crashes. And unfortunately, those crashes oftentimes require a fire department response. So we're on the highways a lot more than we've ever been on the road previously. And when we're out there more, that means there's a propensity for us to be involved in what we call a secondary incident. And a secondary incident is when another person gets injured on the highway, and unfortunately, oftentimes, it's a firefighter, a police officer, an EMT, a tower, or maybe somebody from the Department of Transportation. We're all about stopping that type of incident. The environment there is probably the second most dangerous place in the fire service, outside structural firefighting. The injuries and the deaths kind of tell us that this is a growing problem. So therefore, people need to treat the roadway like they would treat a structural response. And that's by using personal protective equipment that would help motorists see them as they respond on the highway. We do that and recommend that through wearing a vest over top of a turnout coat that allows drivers to see you well beyond the time they would normally see you standing alongside the road had you not been wearing a vest. There are a lot of other strategies just besides wearing a vest. They include proper positioning of apparatus to close lanes when they need to be closed, not to close the road at every time, because closing the road all the time is not necessarily the problem. We need to have fire officers correctly size up highway incidents. We wouldn't normally see a fire officer pull up to a house fire with a pan of grease on fire on the stove and pull a heavy 2.5-inch blitz line to try to put that out. They would come in with a lighter way to extinguish that fire. We want to take that same thought process and use it on the highway so that people will use the proper equipment. Sometimes that means that the road has to be closed. Other times it means to block a lane to allow traffic to pass by safely and to allow ambulances, other equipment, law enforcement, towing vehicles to proceed to the scene, because if the road's blocked, it's very difficult for them to get there to help us do our job. In November of 2008, the Federal Highway Administration issued a rule which carries the weight of any federal rule. It's a compliance issue for fire departments. It requires that anyone working on a federal aid highway, that means a highway that receives some type of federal money to construct, to maintain it, those workers must be wearing a high visibility garment that is a labeled garment from ANSI. ANSI is the American National Standards Institute. It's a labeled garment, and those labels can be readily seen inside the vests. In addition to working with high visibility garments, we also are working on many other issues having to do with that small zone where firefighters are working at an accident. One of those areas is the configuration of lights on fire apparatus as they're stopped at the scene. Improper light configurations, particularly white lights, in the eyes of oncoming drivers can cause some blindness and actually cause motorists to be confused, which creates more danger on the highways. There's a lot of work being done on colors of lights and stopped vehicles. We're going to get in and be about that, and that type of information is going to be posted on respondersafety.com. We would urge everyone to take a look at that website. It's a nonprofit. We don't charge any money. All of our programs are free. We either mail you the programs or you can download them right from the website. In addition to that, we're the only folks in the country that actually track every struck by that's reported in the news media. Every day we update our site with every struck by. Respondersafety.com. On the highway, we've got your back.